Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up the screen here. Kathy Woods has just bought NIO. I was wondering when this was going to happen and when her fund would pick it up, but it's finally occurred, and let's get into that. And here it says Arkq bought 420,000 plus shares of NIO on Friday, worth about 8.4 million. It makes up about 0.5% of the ETF's total position. So obviously this is a starting point for her and the fund. And a lot of people have been, again, asking, when is she going to buy NIO? And if you remember last year, Kathy had mentioned NIO in an interview, and she actually said that NIO would win the day in China. And I think she's right about that. So let's actually look at her fund. And here you see Arkq, and we'll get into it's probably down here towards the bottom right now since it's a brand new position. Yeah, right there it is, 8.42 million, and 0.5% of their holdings in the Arkq. And if you don't know what the Arkq, let's go over that. The Arkq is actually autonomous technology and robotics ETF. So that's one of the reasons why I love that it's in the Arkq, because autonomous driving is so important, and it's going to be very profitable for NIO. And we're going to get into all that when we look at R&D and also G&A here in just a minute. Now, this is NIO's research and development expenses over the last 4 quarters. And of course, we went over fourth quarter earnings in a previous video just about 24 hours ago. I will link that at the end of this video if you want to take a look at the earnings video I did. And I also went over the conference call. So I'm going to put both of those. I'll attach both those at the end of this video, just in case you missed it. But here is NIO's research and development. I put it on a chart just to make it super easy to understand. This was their first quarter, 104 million. This last quarter, 286. So they've almost tripled their research and development. Why is that important? Because not only are they designing these 3 new vehicles, which was the ET7, now the ET5 coming out, and the ES7 coming out in the second half of this year. They've also got the sub-brand, which will be a lower cost vehicle or group of vehicles, which will hit the middle income folks. But on top of that, they're working hard on autonomous driving. And the key to autonomous driving is, look, everybody's going to be using autonomous driving 10, 20 years from now. That's just a fact. Babies right now that are born, they won't know how to drive because it won't matter. You'll just drive for sport. It won't be because you need to. So autonomous driving is going to be very important, and it's also going to be very profitable. And why is that? Because it's software as a service. And if you know anything about software as a service, it's highly profitable, typically around 80% profit margin. Now, the key to software as a service, you've got to spend a bunch of money on the front end, because you've got to design the software that will do these magical things that software does nowadays. So you've got to spend the money on the front end. That's one of the, why do you think Apple's worth so much money? Because they've got great software and great phones and great computers and great this and great that. Okay, but anyway, it boils down to the fact that they're going to spend the money on the front end, which they're doing, and then they're able to charge for the autonomous driving, and that takes NIO to another level. Yes, they're a car company, but they're also a high-tech company. They're a combo, and autonomous driving is going to be very profitable. And if you don't think it's going to be, ask Tesla about it. One of the reasons Tesla is doing so well is, they're on top of autonomous driving as well. And it's really profitable. They charge $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for that, and they get it. So you end up with a higher multiple. Now, personally, before all the Tesla bulls go crazy, I think Tesla is one of the most important companies in a generation. I love Tesla. But I'm really high on NIO as well, because I think NIO is going to kind of be a version of Tesla in China, and probably all over the world. They might be a Tesla Junior. There's nothing wrong with being a Tesla Junior, let me assure you. Now, NIO dropped yesterday about 10%, 9.5 actually. So did XPeng, so did Lee. I think Tesla went down. All the EVs went down yesterday, and that happens. You get this little trend. I don't think it was necessarily the earnings. The earnings were okay. They weren't great. The revenue was good, but because their G&A was higher and what I just showed you, the research and development was higher, they're in hyper growth mode. This company's not mature by any stretch. It's a little baby. It's an infant that's just learning how to walk. Last year, it started stumbling along and got on its feet for the first time. It's just a fraction of where it's going to be in about 5 years. It's a very exciting company because of that. But let's look at what the stock's doing. Like I said, it's sitting down here. She bought it probably on the come down around probably the 19 and change. So she's sitting in a pretty good position long term, and she obviously sees that. And she'll probably add, if it pulls down more, she'll probably add. I intend to do that as well. My last buy was at $14, and I've swing traded this thing a couple times, made money here, made money here. I am upside down right now. I think I'm around 25 or 26 bucks in my swing trade, and I do hold this thing long in my regular account too. I'll never touch it. It's going to be there for years and years. But I'm at about 25 and 26, somewhere in that neighborhood. If you are swing trading this or you hold it, tell me your average. Comment to me. Like I said, I'm between 25 and 26, and I am upside down a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. Over the next several months, I see this stock working its way back up as they get NIO Park open later on in the year, and the ET7 gets launched on the 28th as they start taking deliveries. And I think the pre-orders are pretty strong for it, so it should be a really good flagship vehicle for them long term. The other reason I think Cathie Wood bought yesterday is real simple. China has pretty much sent the signal, hey, we're going to cooperate. You know, we're going to allow some form of auditing that will hopefully satisfy the SEC and the United States. Because if you're going to be on the NASDAQ, you're going to be on the New York Stock Exchange, you got to let people audit your books. It's just a reasonable request. Everybody has to do it. And they've signaled, you know, they blinked, and they needed to blink. It's a good idea. You know, the thing is, China is not Russia. I know they're both communists, but China is very pragmatic when it comes to money. Russia is not. You know, they're one guy making stupid decisions. Whereas China, they'll try to be pragmatic and do things that are good for them financially. And having your stocks go down to Pennyville is not good for the stock market and not good for their country. And they realized that when they watched all their big companies doing tanking. And I think Cathie Wood has taken that signal and realized it. And then the Taiwan issue, I think it's really reduced as far as a chance of it happening, because China has seen what's happened to Russia as they invaded Ukraine, and they are now a pariah. And nobody will have anything to do with them, and it's going to be that way for many years. And they're basically exiled from the world, and I don't think China wants any part of that. So I feel much better about those two big issues. We still have the Rona to deal with. There's some problems there in China with that and some shutdowns. But I think overall NIO is going to be fine. Fundamentally, the company is fine, in my opinion. They've got a great balance sheet. They're building their revenues. They could be profitable right now if they wanted to, but they're spending money in G&A and research and development, and I'm okay with that. They've got plenty of money. They can afford to lose money for another year or so, and they think they're going to start making money first of next year. That's fine. That would be great, really, given how young this company is and how far they have to go. All right, folks, and that's NIO today. Just wanted to get you that update that Cathie Woods and Arkq has bought NIO, and that's pretty exciting. And I know Cathie took a lot of grief recently, but, you know, she was the hero a year ago. She was a genius, and now she's all of a sudden stupid. I don't think so. She's probably somewhere in between, but I think she's got decent judgment when it comes to stocks. I think she's going to do just fine long term, and I think this is a good buy for her. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover NIO. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Give the channel a chance. I'd certainly appreciate it. And I hope you did like the content. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.